Another day, and I just wanted to open this video up with a little tidbit about what's going on in the shop. We've got quite a few cars that are in right now, so a little bit busy. I'm still going to be trying to put out consistent content, but the cars that are in the shop right now are just kind of long haul projects. So we did an inspection on the white FD. That one's good. And we did a compression test, everything. Go check out the website if you want more info on that car. And we have a few more cars too that are going to be in process. I'm going to get the Supra back out on the road. We're going to start driving that around now just to get a little bit of seat time with it and show you guys what that car is all about. Well, I'm going to say first impressions, but impressions on the car. And I want to talk about the 3-rotor. So the 3-rotor is, I've already pretty much gone through everything. I've got a couple of tasks at hand that I need to accomplish with the 3-rotor in order to get it to where it needs to be. One of those is I need to install a new diff, which I have right here. This is a OS Geiken limited slip. So we're going to be putting that in, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually get a new rear end, so I'll have 2 rear ends to work with. The rear end that's in the car right now was used as the mock-up for this setup, and it's kind of worn out now. So we're going to be replacing that with a new unit and this OS Geiken limited slip. So I got a new pumpkin on the way. I'm going to be doing that, and then we're going to be putting that in the car. We'll be able to do some more driving videos with it from there. So as I discussed with this car before, the motor is a NA20B 3-rotor. The transmission is an RX-8 6-speed, which is really cool. And it has a custom power plant frame made by Defined Auto Works with the RX-8 rear end. So the RX-8 rear end final drive is 433, which is the automatic final drive. And with this 6-speed transmission, that puts gearing exactly where it needs to be for a lot of tracks. It's a really good setup. And you can see the transmission sits a little bit more forward, so the shifter was modified in order to give it a little bit of a throw back, which is fine. It feels perfect in the car. I like the distance to the steering wheel. Everything about it is really nice. I also mounted up a camera here. This is the GoPro. So I mounted up the camera. It's ready to go. So I'm going to do some driving video once I get this new rear end put in. Otherwise, I would already be doing it, but I don't want to chance messing up this the rear end. Has a carbon drive shaft and stuff. So also mounted up the wideband, so it's right there within driving view. Really good. Everything else on this car is really ready to rip. It's still on slicks, which is pretty crazy. It's got these Continental slicks. What else? Not really much else going on here. Oh, I have a brake balance adjuster that I'm going to be putting in. I've got this. So this allows me to actually just adjust it in the cabin instead of having to get out. Not that it needs it right now, but eventually I'll put it in. Also, I sent off the ITBs for modification. So this setup, this motor right now is semi-peripheral ported, which if you guys are into rotaries, you know what that means. If not, I'll give you a brief introduction to that. On the rotor housing, there's an exhaust port, but there's no intake port. The intake ports on these motors are in the side plates or in the irons. So the motors are side ported. That's a side port that goes in, and then it makes a turn into the rotor housing where it gets drawn out. But the exhaust is pushed directly through the rotor housing, through the side of the rotor housing, and that's a peripheral port. So what we're doing is we're adding the intake setup that's going to be able to allow those peripheral ports, or those semi-peripheral ports. It's called semi because it still uses the side plate ports as well. We're going to be using those peripheral ports as it was intended originally. This manifold is modified by Defined Logan does a really good job. He actually chops it down and shortens the runner length, which helps also with clearance. So the peripheral ports are going to be right where the rotor housing, right above the exhaust ports, as you can see there. They're just covered up right now because this manifold is not drilled out for the peripheral ports. So when the peripheral ports are opened up, this motor will make a lot more power. As it sits right now, it was actually restricted down by using that method. It was restricted down to, you know, like lower 300s horsepower wise. And with those peripheral ports opened up, we're going to be over 400, or that's the estimation. So we'll see how that goes, but regardless, I want to do that just because I'm not going to be worried about power restrictions. I'm not worried about class restrictions for racing. I want this thing to be an absolute animal in every way, shape, or form. And as you can hear it just sounds perfect, so I want that. So those ITBs will sit right here, and they'll be facing straight up. They'll have little horns on them. I'll have some kind of little intake box made for it, and then we'll be good there. We'll be making all the power. I also put the sway bars back on. The sway bars were off of it. Previous owner takes the sway bars off for alignment and stuff like that. Alignment's good. Now I put the sway bars on, so everything is ready to go. We just got another car in now here for something. We'll see. And I also am going to be replacing this air filter with something else, because this air filter, it's decent and it's big, but I feel like it just doesn't complement the setup so much. It looks really obtuse. So I'm going to put something else out there, wait for that, we'll see how that goes. And that's going to be pretty much it. I don't think there's really much more to do on this. Really excited to get this stuff on. He also sent me these air horns, but I think I'm going to try something else. These are like little carbon air horns. I have to like drill them off and make some kind of plate for that. Also the dash setup, he had like another dash setup that he was working on that uses this factory style hood, but I'll have to modify that and create some sort of mounting structure to mount that to the framework inside. And I like this flat style. I don't know why I like it. I think I just like it because it's different. It's not like the factory, and I have a RZ at home with all the factory gauges, so this to me is just a little more racy. It's like, I don't know, dare I say, NASCAR-ish. I don't know. It's kind of cool though. I like it. And they're actual Japanese gauges. They're Apex EL2s all the way across, so it's really not too bad. I don't know if I'm gonna use that gauge hood and change these cluster at all, but regardless, body-wise, things are gonna change. So outside, I want to do a wide body setup. It's gonna kick it out, you know, a good 50 mil or something, and it's gonna be a nice addition to what's already here. I'm gonna keep it yellow. I want the CYM yellow. Probably do a different hood, something with a little more ventilation and just a little bit different look. This is like a factory hood that's been massaged, or I don't know how you make these, but they did something. And it's kind of cool, I guess, but just, I don't know. I want to update that. I want more visibility. I want more ventilation under the hood to make this a little better. So front bumper, we'll probably get a new front bumper. This thing is, I think, a little bit beyond repair. It's had a lot of race use. You can see it's missing paint everywhere from all the rock chips and stuff hitting it. And I went ahead and just kind of like, for the meantime, I painted this black just to see what it looks like, to give that the black accents, and I think it looks pretty decent. But regardless, this is going to be replaced. You can see it's missing chunks and stuff. The lights I like. I'm going to keep the lights like that. I like those lights. Wheels, probably going to go with Rega Masters, just because that's what all the JGTC RX-7s had back then, pretty much. So we'll do the correct fitment for those, and it'll fit the body kit. I'm still trying to figure out the body kit situation. I know there's going to be quite a bit of modification that needs to happen in here in order to make the whole car sit a little lower, so we'll get into that a little later. But either way, that's the plan. It's going to be a pretty intense wide body modification. not going to happen fast and it's not going to happen soon, but I am going to get it done, so just stick with me. For now, I'm going to keep on pumping away at this motor and get everything 100% just like we usually do, and make sure that it's producing all the power that we want. So once I get the new rear end in, then we can go on the dyno, we can start getting some numbers, wait for the ITB setup, and then really let her rip. But I'm so happy right now. I hope you guys are too. This thing is just unbelievable.